Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of Bagged and Board. I am Vlad St. Valentine, and with me is the host with the remostest, Mr. Caidan Ramos.
How you doing?
Dude, I'm great. How are you?
Not bad, not bad.
I was going to ask how your week off was from editing crap, but you have like a different, you got hijacked by another team.
Yeah, it's all good. This one actually pays.
I pay in love and good cheer, sir.
In food.
And food. All right. So here on the second episode, we are going to do the latest, or one of the latest DC story arcs that just came out, Joker War, which was pretty damn good. It took place in the main Batman continuity. The Batman 2016 run is when that this one started. Was a volume 7, volume 8, blah 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 blah.
Like
Yeah, I have had to look that up again. I have no idea, but they started renumbering Batman in 2016 again. And that's the current run we're on with Rebirth, wasn't it?
Yes.
But our current this run just wrapped up, culminating I think in 100 was the final episode of this one, or the story arc here. So. But several tie-ins. The main story arc went through Batman. We got tie-ins from Detective Comics, as well as we got Nightwing, Batgirl were the other two main ones, and some one-shots from Red Hood and the Outlaws, and God only knows what else. I think that's the only ones I got. I'll have to go look at the full reading list. You know, that's the way they get us now, man. You can't just have one storyline going on. You got to have like a million different little tie-ins that are. Yeah. And I got to say, like, with this one, with DC, the tie-ins were worth it more than with Absolute Carnage. Because Absolute Carnage had like Lethal Protector and Scream and a bunch of one-shots that ultimately, if you didn't read them, you wouldn't have missed much. Mm-hmm. These had the Nightwing story and the Batgirl story, the supplemental ones, while not vital to the main story arc, were definitely supplementals that I would not recommend missing out on because they're very good stories. So the main premise of this storyline is that the Joker and his new sidekick Punchline have stolen all of Wayne Enterprises' money and access to the corporation. And they've basically just stolen everything Bruce Wayne has. They've got all of his funds. They've got access to the corporation, to they're running Wayne Tech. They've got lawyers like keeping the city and the cops just tied up at City Hall. And he's running the city now, and he has all of Batman's tech, access to all the computers, all the hidden bat caves, just everything. And this actually happens in some of the preludes because they're like, hey, Joker War starts here, but if you don't read like the first, like the 3 or 4 books beforehand, you're kind of like, what the fuck is happening here? And so I think it was in, let me look here, my notes. Let me look at my notes. It was either 94 or 93, I think. Let's see. Yeah, 93 is when Batman 93. So 2 issues before this, we get Punchline busting into the underbrokers layer there and attempting to transfer the funds out of Wayne. We find out though, okay, so the story going into this, sorry, a little more backstory is we've got the fuck is his name? Hold on.
The designer.
Yes, thank you. Designer scheme going on, and he had been, masterminding all the villains to try and do his master design, his master plan. And part of that, though, Selena Kyle had learned that all of Bruce Wayne's money and stuff was in shell corporations, and in these little shell corporations and hitting funds, they're not in legal accounts. And in being in illegal accounts, they were able to steal from them without any repercussion, because, if you were trying to show that these things were stolen from you legally, you'd have to show how you were spending your money. And then ultimately Batman be like, well, I'm spending it all on Bat Tech. And then he's arrested by the government. Everything's seized anyway. So there's nothing you can do about it. But in 93, Punchline's going after it at the same time as Harley Quinn and Catwoman is attempting to transfer the funds when Harley and Punchline go at it, and Punchline actually slits Harley's throat and tosses her in a sewer to die. And so we actually start this off with just kind of a recap, not really of the events that have happened, just letting us know the state of things, which is we get a news kind of broadcast saying that, well, Batman's essentially an outlaw, and Wayne Enterprises demands the return of all their tech. They've been taken over. And then there's kind of like the news gossip saying, we all know the Joker's behind this, just to let us all know that the Joker's behind all this.
Very interesting. Like it's crazy that he was able to
Today, Junior?
basically make sure everybody who was in line to control things just was out of the picture. He hires all the what was it, 5 or 6 major assassins to take out the mayor and everybody within that chain of command in Gotham City.
Well, Joker doesn't do anything without a plan. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Uh, they start this with it's it's kind of like a flashback to the first time he met the Joker, at least in this continuity, because God knows there's a million of them. Basically, he said that opening segment that the Joker knew he was going to lose in their first confrontation and already planned on how he's going to come at him the next time after that and the next time after that, and that this was going to be a never ending thing. And again, this was setting up this storyline and that the Joker, has this plan. He's got a well thought out plan that he's coming back at Bruce over and over and over again, trying to hurt him a little more each time, make it worse, just twist that knife each time. And I mean, this one was a little bit of a doozy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you take away everything Batman has to rely on, you strip him down to just relying on himself. And again, I'm sure the Joker knows ultimately, because every time things start going to shit in any Joker storyline, he's always seems perfectly fine with it. Like, yep, this is what was going to happen. He knows he's not going to succeed. That's not the point.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they outline it in this too. He's like, the Joker sees people just as meat. They're walking dead essentially. And since Batman's the only person to him that's really alive, he wants to keep engaging him and pushing him in his boundaries and engaging in this dance forever until he, tires of it, I guess, enough to kill each of them.
Yeah.
So in this issue, we see the beginning of the Joker's plans. He starts buying the theaters. Starts with, of course, the what's it called? The Monarch.
Yep.
Starts with the Monarch, and later on we find out he's going to buy every theater, the indies, the major ones, every theater in town. And ultimately, as we go on, we're going to find out he's going to play the Mask of
The
Mark of Zorro. That's what it was. The Mark of Zorro. Just the Mask of Zorro. There's so many different Zorro movies out there, man. Is the Mark of Zorro even a real movie?
I don't know. Consult the Oracle, November 1st, 1940.
What was the question again? I started reading something else.
Was there a real movie called The Mark of Zorro?
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. 1920. 1940 was remake.
1940 was the remake.
1940 was the remake. 1920 was the original.
See, they ran out of ideas already after 20 years of making movies. I will say one of the weird things I noticed in this is when we get the confrontation between Harlan Graves and Gordon. Not Gordon. It was
Bullock.
Bullock, yeah. The cops don't back down. It actually seems to be kind of a positive portrayal of police officers, which, isn't really popular these days.
Yeah.
So that was surprising. But given the track record of what the Gotham Police Department's been through and knowing that as they do that the Joker's the one pulling the strings, it stands to reason that they're not going to go along with it.
Yeah.
Because they've been put through way too much tragedy personally by that man to ever fall in line with him. So you can choose to read it as a logical step or a positive view of the cops. But
yeah, it just stands to reason.
So the climax of this one is Batman sneaks to Wayne Tower and kind of taps into a secret bat cave he has hidden in the building. And
one of like 7 or 8 that Punchline says.
Yeah, but Punchline's waiting for him, and she started pumping in her own version of the Joker toxin, which has got fear toxin and a little venom mixed into it so he doesn't die. And it's like the Hangover's killer, though.
Yep.
But she pumps that crap in on him while she starts fighting him, and just takes hold a little bit. And we see that, one of the reasons they have access to all this stuff is that they've captured Lucius Fox and penetrated his brains with little needles with the toxin, using that to control him. He's trying to fight it, but not much he can do about it. He's got the little rigor mortis face. And like his general aesthetic makes him look like a ventriloquist dummy with the rigor mortis face. It does. It's super creepy. Not going to lie. But Batman gets this bat cave and, Punchline's like, this is my favorite one because it's the one you hadn't earned yet. It's the one you were going to open when you, had made this city a bright, shining place. And it's like, look, there's the armor you hadn't even earned. It's like this nice, it looked like, remember Cosmic Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of that. It was like Cosmic Spider-Man in the bat
silver, suit. Holography.
Yeah, like a little bit of blue cosmic-y sort of it was weird.
It was the foil edition.
The foil variant. Oh man, Batman probably paid $40 for that one.
Yeah.
Wonder if he got it signed by Tinian. But, Batman didn't know that suit was there even. And he's like, oh, Lucia, she made it for me. He just starts having his little freak out there and tries to escape and starts hearing Alfred's voice, who died previously. I think in Bane.
Yeah, in one of the main books.
It was, the City Bane, or when Bane took over, where the hell it was called. Bane took over. It was like the last big story arc.
Yeah.
I missed that when I was doing Year of the Villain. Sorry, guys. Batman hallucinating. He runs outside, hearing Alfred's voice, telling him to get out. And there's a bat wing with a big giant Joker smile waiting for him that just blasts right into the building. That's how we end. Is this the end for our Dark Knight? Tune in, next month, same bat time, same bat channel. But
same bat price.
Well, no, mine was with the variant cover over here. I think it was $1 more.
Yeah.
It's all right though. I think it was cool looking.
Yeah. Nice cover.
So what do you think of this one? Way to kick off the storyline here.
Kicking it off, it's not too bad if you've been kept up on it. Like you say, I had to go back and read 93, 94.
Yeah,
catch up on that.
I think the attempt to do the narrative backstory in the the little news stories in the beginning doesn't give you enough.
No.
And I didn't notice a whole lot of this happened in this issue. Go back and read this. I had to flip back through on my own and kind of find the ones that I needed.
Yeah.
Because luckily I bought a few of the pre-war issues, so we had them lying around. But I like this. All right, so I'm trying to judge. I'm trying to judge story arcs now, not against story arcs from the past that I've loved, because when you think of the story arcs that have stuck with us, we think of Infinite Crisis, we think of Infinity Gauntlet, Blackest Night.
Mm-hmm.
Even that's the newest one I can think of, but currently, man, I gotta say the big runs I've done recently were the Year of the Villain stuff, which I couldn't possibly get all that because it went through everyone's damn comic because it was everyone. But this and Absolute Carnage, and I would throw Death Metal in there, but we haven't finished that yet. We'll see how it goes. Modern arcs, it only had 2 so far, really. 3.5 are just not as good. They haven't been nearly. They don't feel as epic. They don't feel as weighty. Like Absolute Carnage feel like it took place in 2 locations. If you didn't read all the superfluous material, which again didn't do it. Carnage didn't feel like he was that much of a character in it. I felt like we were just more worried about Dylan, than anything else. Which fine, but I'm here for a Carnage story. I tuned back in for Carnage after years. I got no idea who the fuck Dylan is. I don't give a shit about Venom's kid.
Yeah, it's I think a lot of it has to do with the movies that we've been entrenched into. I think a lot of the epicness and the sensationalism in the movies has kind of toned down what we view in the comic book world. Because this would have been a great story. This is actually kind of a great story, anyways. Batman, or not Batman, Joker taking over all of Bat Tech and just kind of turning it on him.
I don't disagree that the premise, the premise is good. I just, I don't really know about, and I don't think the execution was bad either. I like Tinian a lot. I'm just talking comparatively to, and not the movies, but the older storylines. The ones I mentioned, Maximum Carnage compared to Absolute Carnage, which we'll get to sometime, there's no comparison. I don't know what it is about these stories that seem to lack. Maybe it's just because maybe it's not just necessarily the movies, but because we've been through these stories so many times that they lack the same oomph. Like I can only have Joker take Batman back to the place where his parents were killed so many times, because that happens both here and
in Joker War,
and 3 Jokers.
Yeah.
So, which are two story arcs that are running, concurrently, essentially. So I'm getting a lot of repeated steps here, and it's not that I love Tinian the Fourth. It's not that he's a bad writer, but Jeff Johns is a better one. As far as a kickoff goes, I don't know that it filled in people who jumped in at the beginning enough with enough backstory. But
no, not at all.
It wasn't bad. and the storyline itself, it's intriguing. So it's a mediocre way to kick off our show. It wasn't that the book was bad. It's just that if anyone coming in fresh probably wouldn't have any idea what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, you need at least read 93 at least earliest.
93 and 94. That's the ones I think I picked up 92 is when they start labeling pre-war was around 92. And I think that's when I started picking them up. So as long as you're hopping in on the pre-war stuff before the actual thing starts, you'll be good to go. So don't miss those in this case. They're absolutely vital. All right. So we said we're going to skip most of the tie-ins, but the one comic book line we are going to do the tie-in for is Detective Comics, because again, primarily, revolves around Batman stuff too. And there's a lot of, a lot more vital stuff in those tie-ins than compared to some of the other ones, I would say, as far as the main storyline goes. So,
all right. So, Detective Comics 1024. We start out with Batman and Two-Face kind of teaming up together to take on Talon and the Court of Owls.
It starts off action-packed, man.
Yeah.
And again, if you didn't read the previous two, you probably don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, I didn't read those.
And this one just drops you right in on it. There's no back, because it's not part of the main storyline. Doesn't feel it needs to. So you should have been reading before this point, I guess, in their opinion. So previously in
Detective Comics, apparently Two-Face has created his own. Well, first off, the bullet that's in his head kind of gets shifted around, and he no longer is Two-Face, but he's Harvey Dent.
Well, that's how we start off here. So what had happened previously on Batman or in Detective Comics was that, and again, I didn't read all the backstory. I only got a little bit of the mid story in. I didn't get the beginning here, but apparently, Hugo Strange and the Mad Hatter have done something to shift the personality completely into Two-Face, and that's why he's crazy evil, and they're kind of controlling him a little bit. And Hugo had done some surgery, I guess, probably shifting the bullet further in and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So Batman kicks in on those, knocks them out. And when he gets to Harvey, who's raiding a bat armory or a Wayne Tech armory, and he's stolen like this Batman power armor suit, and all of his thugs have got, badass weaponry and stuff. Batman hits him and they have this little electrode that shocks him. And I don't know if it just pushes the bullet out, but it basically kind of, unwires what they had done to him. And he regains himself and becomes Harvey Dent. And Batman starts this at that point where he's kind of talking Harvey back down. He's like, don't be a pawn. The Joker's controlling you. He's making you part of his game, fight me. And there's a bunch of, Court of Owls that show up because, again, previously in Detective Comics, if you had read the previous one, the Joker had resurrected a Lincoln March, who, once claimed to be Thomas Wayne Jr. and Batman's little brother, and was he had been locked away at this point by the Court of Owls, having poisoned all their leaders at one point in time. Yeah. So he was kind of a disgraced Talon, but Joker resurrected him with not just the serum that resurrects their assassins, but also mixed a little bit of Joker toxin in there. So he's super fucked up.
Yeah, he's Joker-fied.
But it makes him sluggish, and Batman whips his ass pretty easily. It's a pretty good story. If you got to read the first bit of it, because this was a good ending to it, because it ends with a great fight between Batman and Lincoln March, with Two-Face in a Iron Man or War Machine suit, basically wrecking shop on a bunch of undead Talons so they don't have to pull punches. They can just blow shit up.
Yeah, Batman makes the point to say, if you've been holding back, don't. They're already dead.
Yeah, go nuts. Yeah, you have a heyday. This is how I get my stress out, killing dead things. It's great. I got to hold back all the time. This is wonderful.
Yeah, and Harvey Dent's like, oh, okay, let's do this shit.
Kind of wreck shop on the Talons there, and Joker's watching the entire time through Lincoln's, tech, his headgear and stuff, and laughing his ass off. And Harvey causes a giant explosion, wipes them all out, but during that it causes the bullet shift again, and he starts to turn on his own people and go nuts again. So Batman disables the armor, and we have one of the greatest scenes I've seen in a while, where Batman performs like he's like, I need you conscious but immobile. So like he's immobilized the suit where Harvey can't move. He's like, I'm gonna perform brain surgery on you while you're awake in the suit, and Harvey's got or he's back to Two-Face now. He's got an emotional line that's like, he's screaming. He's like, if you've ever been my friend, then kill me now because I don't want to be that. I don't be, it's just
Yeah.
it,
Two Face doesn't like being Harvey.
no. And the fighting back against it there, the desperation, it was wonderfully played. There's a lot of action here. Yes, it's like the other one. You do need to go back and read the other ones, but this was a good book. I like the live brain surgery that was successful. And then the final scene is just absolutely beautiful with Harvey Dent in prison with this long line of criminals, and he's just looking over their cases and giving them defense advice.
Yep.
And it ends with this guy kind of like, I thought you were this. And he's like, I'm not that person anymore. And the dude just leaves the bullet there and walks away. It's fucking Matches Malone, Batman's criminal alter ego. Yeah. Another appearance by Matches Malone, man. I like this issue a lot. This is really good.
Yeah, it was very interesting coming from not having read 22 or 23. So
I imagine it would have been as good. At least read 23, just skim that so
yeah.
you can kind of see what's going on with Harvey, or at least, Batman making the first contact. Cause you just stick it, you pop up in the middle of the fight at the beginning of this one. So you do need at least the previous 1023.
Yeah. I just got back into comics recently, so I'll definitely go back through and reread everything, sit down, take my time, reread stuff.
Yeah, just anything that's on that Joker War reading list.
Mm-hmm.
There's a website we like to use, not to plug anybody, but it's How to Read Comics, that usually has a pretty concise list of everything you need to read, like that you might want to read previously that kind of pertains to it, then everything that's the preludes and the aftermath stuff. Actually, sticking to those lists in my purchasing, I actually bought a couple aftermath ones I didn't want. So don't follow it blindly like my dumbass did, but it's there. But ultimately, great book. Highly recommend it. Go out and buy it, especially from Madness Comics in Denton, Texas, or the other one you said.
Y2 Comics in Fort Worth.
Yeah, there you go. One of those guys. All right, Batman 96, and finally a non-variant cover. And the one that's going to have the most green on the damn front that I'm going to have a problem chroma keying out. If you guys are, I may get lazy. This may just be a big black blur right here. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. So Batman 96 starts off in a Batman fever dream. He's still feeling the effects of the toxin, and he's kind of having a vision of utopia of what it can be. And it's a nice little, what if Gotham was Metropolis for a second there.
Mm-hmm.
But we kind of come towards the end of the delusion, and he's walking through the Batcave with Alfred. He's wearing his spiffy Spider-Man, cosmic Spider-Man outfit. And then Alfred's like, this is not the way it is. His neck snaps all sideways and gets the Joker smile. And Batman kind of comes to an apartment with Harley, who's kind of Frankenstein her neck back together. So apparently she survived her punchline attack. And this basically could be called, this is exposition dump the issue, basically. This is just a giant exposition dump from Harley Quinn through the entire middle section until like the last 2 pages where you kind of get a stinger for the next episode. So this one's not entirely satisfying, but it is necessary to fill you in on everything. Basically, Batman kind of is coming to, he's still under the effects of Punchline's toxin, and Harley lets us know that the Joker is just taking over everything. The cops can't do anything because they're tied up in the court system, and that Joker's paid all the other gangs to join him, and he's given them all the tech, and they've Jokerized all Batman's gear, and they're just running through the town. They're running amok and just destroying everything, and shit has fucking hit the fan. We do get our first appearance of Clown Hunter, because she does mention that, since the cops can't do anything, people are taking it into their own hands to do this. So we get our first appearance of a character who's just a kid. He's like Miles Morales if written by Garth Ennis.
That's fair.
Clown Hunter's an okay character. He develops not at all. He doesn't develop much over this series, but we'll see where he goes from here. There wasn't much time really to develop in this, and he's just kind of an angry kid out to kill clowns and propound, the Joker gang members and protect his neighborhood because he doesn't see the cops or anyone else doing it. And later on, he kind of explains that, it's like, I'd hoped that a Batman was going to come help us, and they never did. So I figured out that I had to help us. So,
yeah,
not a real unique vigilante or hero story, but honest one, or at least a one that rings true. It doesn't have to be overly complicated necessarily. So
No.
I'm fine by that. Yeah. And I like the design of the character.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks cool.
You know, the little red mohawk thing,
Do the biker helmet.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the whole like writing everything he says in lowercase is all about, but I guess just be mumbly.
I
He's a
guess.
mumbly character. I don't know.
He's a kid. Kids don't capitalize things. They just text.
Oh, is that supposed to be their way of being edgy or
I don't know.
is that their way of like expressing like detached youth angst?
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
But on top of this, Harley lets us know that the Joker has bought all the theaters and he's going to play the Mark of Zorro, and he's offering $10,000 per person to come see it opening night. So obviously the theater is going to be packed. What's he planning? He's bought Ace Chemical, probably planning to release some sort of horrible toxin on people when they come see the thing. Batman freaks out and escapes from Harley's apartment. He's still under the effects though. He's hearing Alfred's voice, and he heads to the Monarch Theater, and it's just been restored to the day it was the night his parents were killed. And he walks to the theater, and Joker appears on the screen. The theater's full of dead bodies. It's every person the Joker's killed. And he's put some of the designer's tech in them and pumped them full of toxin. And now they're basically going to be his
Joker
undead
zombies.
Joker zombie army. So I'm going to make him an army of Joe Chills. So I guess he's going to use them to kill people after they come see the movie.
I guess so.
That was the implication.
Yeah.
But we end with them like all kind of turning on. It's like, and they got a bone to pick with you because you weren't there to save them. And he turns the zombies on him. And that's where we end this issue. Again, exposition dump the issue with a dream sequence to start us off and a nice little stinger to finish us. It's a necessary bridge episode to the next one. It's what you'd expect in these sort of things. It's not great on its own, but it's necessary to fill in the gaps in the story.
Mhm.
I will say I do like the look of the Alfreds whenever he's hallucinating, or like the snap neck look they're doing to like the dead bodies or whatever, the killing the neck over at a impossible angle and looking at like the visuals in this are incredibly creepy. And the fact that they've basically been playing Joker in a lot of the story arcs as basically a horror character has been absolutely wonderful and perfect.
Yeah, and not only with Alfred, they do it with his parents too in his little dream sequence
Yeah.
as he's leaving Harley.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot he had the secondary hallucination
Mhm.
too. Yeah, the man can't catch a break. So far, we're only going to cap these three. That's where we're going to stop it today. And there's 9 issues we're going to cover in this series. Was it 6 from the main one and 3 from the other? Is that how it works? Shut down?
Yeah.
So again, we'll bring this to you in 3 parts. So far, the story is very good, very engaging. Spoilers, I will just tell you overall, this thing is worth watching. That way you guys will keep coming back and watching these reviews. It is a good story. Tinian the Fourth, who has been doing Justice League Dark for a while now, and also one of the writers on
Death Metal.
Yeah, is probably outside Jeff Johns, he's one of the best like full-time writers at DC, which God knows how long that's going to last since, it's the great purge going on over there right now. All right. Stay tuned for the next episode, guys. I'll be to you in 2 weeks. Like I said, every 2 weeks we'll get you an episode of Bagged and Board. And do buy comics, do support them, even if you don't, you're angry with DC or Marvel or some of the storylines they're putting out. There's plenty of independent comic books out there and some of the smaller stuff that are still rocking and rolling, man. AWA, which was a new line that came out not too long ago, had a couple of series. Archangel 8, which was really good. So
we're currently reading the new Vampire the Masquerade.
The new Vampire the Masquerade series, yeah. What else have we done, man? The Mars Attacks Red Sonja.
Oh yeah, that's you.
That one's ridiculous. I love it, man. There's a lot of good stuff out there, guys. So stay tuned. If there's anything you want us to review at some point in time, please let us know. But we will get you the second installment here in a couple of weeks. And say hi to your mother for me.